Welcome back to another one of my videos. So, we're back with season 2 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So, as you guys may or may not know, I started this series last year, just like everyone else did when it came out, and I was glued to my screen. Now, I was a little bit more invested in this show than you guys may even know because for whatever reason for the past like year and a half I have been in a rabbit hole of Mormon culture. I have never been a Mormon. I am not currently a Mormon, but something about the culture really fascinates me. One the church itself, but also the culture, and then Utah culture, and then anywhere outside of Utah that's not Mormon. Like all of it fascinates me, and to this day I still watch Mormon Stories podcasts. I watch a lot of ex-Mormon content like Close to Consciousness, all of those creators. Alyssa Grenfield, like literally I know all of them, and I don't even know why, because I'm a black girl from Florida and I'm a Christian. I was raised Christian, but I've never been a Mormon. Okay, y'all, so I just wanted to be completely transparent on how I became familiar with the Mormon sphere, and that is actually very interesting. So, I didn't even realize that I consumed a lot of Mormon content, and this is from watching family vlogger channels since I was in like middle school. And I had no clue that all of these vloggers were Mormon. I didn't figure that out actually until I was about 19 years old. So, yeah, I went in and I can name all these channels for you guys. Brooklyn and Bailey, Cute Girls Hairstyles, Eight Passengers, The LeBrant Family, Ohana Adventures, and Not Enough Nelsons. And so recently I was watching Not Enough Nelsons out of all of those channels, the most recent, and I realized that they were talking a lot more about Mormon culture and their faith. And I was like, oh wait, they're Mormon. And then I kind of went on a deep dive and realizing that all of these family channels that I grew up with were Mormon. And I was like, I've been consuming a lot of this content without knowing. Let me do my research and see like what it's all about, because I knew that Mormon, like I knew they were like a religion. LDS was a religion or whatever. Well, that's the name of the church. Okay, I don't even know what to properly call them because I know they don't like being called Mormon anymore, but that's how everyone refers to them. So I'm just gonna use the word Mormon. That's how I was familiar with them, as being like Christian, but I didn't really know all the details. So I decided to do my research, and then that's when I fell into a lot of ex Mormon content, because they are the ones who are the most like outspoken about what it actually is to be Mormon. Because a lot of Mormons don't really discuss it that much. They try to play it off as they're just like Christian, and honestly, it's not the same. They will say that they are Christian, but in my opinion, it's different. It's a lot. There's a lot there. Honestly, just do your research if you want to figure out yourself. But that's how I came into the whole Mormon sphere. So yeah. But anyways, here we are. And when they announced that they were having that Hulu was having the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, mixing one of my two favorite things, Mormon culture and reality TV, y'all, I had to hop on. So I made a ranking video last year. I'm gonna put it right here. So go watch season one's ranking video if you did not watch that. So here I am for season two to rank. Are you okay, Mama? My baby's over here. I don't know if you guys know. She's right here. Say hi, Cora. Say hi. I'm here to rank season two. And guys, I had to get a little bit crafty this season because no one had a tier list up. So I had to take one for the team and create my own tier list. So if you guys want to use my tier list, just go on tiermaker.com and type in Secret Lives season 2 and it should pop up. But I just went ahead and made it right before I'm recording this video. Oh, by the way, if you guys can't tell, because Mormon culture, specifically Mormon Utah culture, they're really heavy in having their like drink places like Swig, and they have this thing called dirty soda. And in this, they mix a lot of different like flavors inside of already, known soda brands, right? So I have my Dr. Pepper to represent, and I'm also wearing Dr. Pepper pajamas. So as you guys can see, also as always, I'm gonna go ahead and explain my rankings here, my little columns that I've made, my rows. So first we're gonna start with S tier queen, A tier baddie, you're doing great, sweetie, therapy, and I don't think mom talk will survive this. So honestly, do I even have to explain this, guys? You guys know this is basically going from best to worst. And look, I know this is a reality show, and they're really brave to get on reality TV and display their lives like this for all of us to see. So I am just doing this based off of what I see on the screen. I do not know these people. I cannot say that this is definitive who they are or how they behave or if this is all for the cameras or not. I mean, personally, this seems to be a very candid show. It hasn't seemed to gotten to that like sort of caricature version of itself that a reality show starts to enter around like season 5. It seems pretty authentic. Some things obviously seems to be played up a little bit for the cameras, but for the most part, the beef seems genuine, and they're still beefing with each other on interviews, y'all. So have you guys seen that extra Entertainment Tonight interview where they was like actively beefing with each other, and the interview was like, "Oop," and Mayci was like, "Oop."
He shoved you. I saw him like touch your arm though.
He went like this to my hip, which is that I don't think any touch is appropriate.
No, I'm not saying like
a man that's not consensual, correct?
No, yeah, I don't think he should have touched you, but I just didn't feel like it was a shove.
I don't either.
Well, it wasn't a shove. Okay, he went up and pressed my hip, but that's not okay. Like I
didn't give the male stripper consent.
I have to ask Demi, was it a dig? Was it pointed to have a Chippendale dancer there? Were you trying to recall and harken back to that first season drama?
No. I think it was a play on what had happened, but everything was communicated to Jen. She's false in her recall. We completely filled her in that a Chippendales dancer would be there. I actually have it on camera, so.
Not Chippendales dancer though.
Yeah, Chippendales, and that it would be Jordan and Brett. It was never just Brett. So she's aware of that. I don't know why she's lying. It's interesting.
No, I'm not lying.
It's on camera, and I have the footage. So
I've actually seen the footage, and it doesn't include the Chippendales. Yeah, it doesn't.
Okay.
They said it's surprise.
That might not be on camera, but it was talked about.
So then don't
in the
say
salon.
she's false.
Well, she consented, is what I'm saying, on camera.
But she's saying it's false. Did you? She's not. I've seen the footage.
You said you were down. You said you were down for it all.
Like right now would be a good time to
unraveling things.
Let's get into it. We start off the season with Whitney wanting to come back to Mom Talk, and like, surprise, surprise, who did not see this coming? I know I did. Honestly, last season, Whitney had a lot of questionable moments. It was hard to defend her at times. But what I will say is that even last season, even though she was the villain, I didn't see her as like unsufferable as some people were talking about her like. And I think that this season she honestly redeemed herself a lot, and that's probably what her goal was, honestly. But I think she's made it very clear this season that she's trying her best to join Mom Talk and look at it more so as a like career opportunity. Look at everyone as coworkers. Like, she doesn't have to be best friends with everyone like she was before. She's just here for the moolah. And you know what? Honestly, I kind of applaud her for being straightforward on that and saying, y'all, I don't want to miss out on my bag. And so can we put our differences aside and just be like, can y'all just accept me to be here? And by the end of the season, spoiler alert, if you guys haven't finished the season, please go ahead and don't watch this video, but come back to the video once you do. Anyways, so yeah, spoiler alert, she gets back into Mom Talk eventually by the last episode, so yay for Whitney. And this season, I'm actually going to put Whitney in the "you're doing great, sweetie" category, because she didn't do anything outlandishly bad this season. There was a point in time where she was like really like she was going towards the demi land, like just on her side, and I was like, girl, you're gonna make yourself the villain again with her, and you and Demi are gonna be casted out and off into the thing. But honestly, she didn't like ride that wave too much. When Demi got up and left for the group, she was like, you know what, Demi is a grown woman and I'm not about to go after her and chase her down. Like, which was ironic because last season she wanted people to go chase her down after she left the group chat. So I was like, girl, that's kind of tone deaf. But anyways, you're doing great, sweetie. I'm gonna put you in that category, and I'm gonna go get my baby because she's wandering off again. All right, y'all. And then we have the person who was introduced to us this season, our new character, Miranda. And so, although she's new to the show, she is not new to the Mom Talk lore because she was the person that was intertwined in the whole swinging scandal back in 2022 with Taylor Frankie Paul. She was Taylor Frankie Paul's best friend, and her husband was the one who kind of made the whole thing crash down, put Taylor in between it. Taylor felt the need to go address it out to the world. Beef started because now you guys are saying these Mormons are swinging, and what do you mean I'm a swinger? And like knowing full well she was a swinger, but she just didn't want to own up to it like Taylor was, which I mean rightfully so. If someone outed me and was like, oh, by the way, y'all, she's a swinger. I know I got caught, but I had to throw down everyone with me. Like, I would be pretty pissed too because, like, you know how that's jeopardizing, my relationships with everyone. Strict Mormons are on sex culture in general, but especially an idea like swinging, like just saying that to everyone. Taylor, I'm not gonna lie, she was kind of wrong for that, but Miranda was also kind of like wrong for lying and making it seem like Taylor was making up lies and she was the only one. I can imagine that feels isolating for Taylor. However, like I said, I can empathize or sympathize. Wait, hold on. Empathize, because I have not been in that position before. I can empathize with Miranda because honestly, imagine how that would feel, like your sex life just being on blast for the whole world to know. Like, and then you're in a spot where you're in a church that does not accept anything like that at all remotely. You might even be excommunicated from the church. Like, I would probably lie too, just for self-preservation. So anyways, that's the lore on Miranda. I thoroughly enjoyed Miranda this season. Now, maybe it's because she knows that she can't really do too much because she's new coming into the group, but she was actually really pleasant. And the girls said multiple times throughout the season that Miranda was actually really pleasant to be around after they got past the whole, well, why is she really here? Is she trying to clout chase? Like, they're not all there doing the same exact thing as her. Like, I kind of got where they were coming from with that because they were basically like, well, she's coming to the show after the show has already aired and season 2 has already come out and it's grown a bit and now she's coming back. Like, I get that, but she was also offered a slot in season 1, so like it's not like she's quite literally just asked to be on. Like, she kind of just went back and accepted it at this point. I mean, we have no reason to believe that she didn't come back because her relationship with her husband was over and like she just wanted to come back now. And even if that's not the case, okay, like Jen said, she's a single mom. Let's support single moms. I mean, come on, I'm out here, I'm not a single mom, but I'm not married yet. I have a boyfriend and I have a daughter, and I'm out here trying to grow my like channel, get clout, I guess, if that's what you want to say. I'm just trying to make money and monetize my life, basically. So I don't see what's the problem with that, honestly. And they're all doing the same thing, so it just kind of felt a little like gatekeepy there. But once they moved past that, it was all fine. They seemed like they really liked Miranda, and she's really a good addition to the group. But by the end of the season, they still didn't include her in the group, which was kind of messed up. They were like, okay, so we're not going to invite Miranda to this one, and we're going to take a vote on everyone who can be in Mom Talk. So obviously Miranda can't even get voted in because she's not invited to that meeting, and no one voted her in. Like, they was just like, you know what, she's just gonna be an honorary member. I mean, fair and fine, but I don't know. Okay, so anyways, Miranda, we're gonna put you in you're doing great, sweetie, because I don't think she did anything out of pocket, but she also didn't do anything exponential. So you're doing great, sweetie. And now I have to go get my baby again because she keeps wandering off to the side, y'all. Okay, y'all, so I have moved the camera and y'all are pretty up close and personal because I'm breastfeeding my daughter. But this is a video and this is a channel that is very children friendly and mom friendly. So just deal with it. Anyways, so Taylor Frankie Paul, there was a couple times where she came on screen that really, really upset me. One of them being, and I feel like I am not alone in this, was when her whole family basically bashed her on national television, basically calling her, you know, what they was calling her. I can't say it on this channel, but they was really going in on her, and I felt so bad. Like, okay, here's the thing. Even if they felt completely valid in their opinion, I don't see why they would ever say those things to their daughter in any situation and make her feel like trash. Like she kept saying the whole season, I feel like trash, I feel like trash. Even at the end when Demi was saying, oh, Taylor, you're disgusting. Like everyone was feeding into this narrative of this insecurity that she already has on herself. And so I thought that was really mean spirited to do to someone who's already struggling with their self-image in that way, and to project that onto her, like furthering her own narrative, was really messed up. And especially the way that her dad was saying it, like, look, once again, I am not Mormon. I am just giving you guys my perspective on someone who has been watching Mormon content for the past year and a half. Like guys, it's not even funny. I mean hours upon hours of videos, podcasts, of Mormon stories. Like, anyways, my input is that is something that is not even slightly far off to how someone in the church would have a view on her. Like when they were sitting down at that table and making it seem like it was her fault that Dakota cheated on her, like, and then basically twisting it back on her and being like, oh, well, you slept with him on night 3. Why were you even sleeping with him that early on? So that's your fault and you're the reason why. And it's like, that has nothing to do with Dakota cheating, and the fact that y'all are taking this man's side over your own daughter and then basically S-word shaming her is crazy. It was insane. And then no, if I can find that clip, because I don't know, Hulu sometimes be weird with the recording. If I can find that clip, I'm going to put it up on the screen. It was not it. It was not it. Then another time that I was like feeling bad for Taylor was when, well, hold on, let me not get away from myself. I'm gonna talk about a moment that kind of pissed me off, like that Taylor did, but it wasn't that bad. The Halloween party, right? When she went over and basically was like dragging, well, okay, she was not dragging him, but she was feeding into Chase. Like he clearly came there, well, not came, okay, we're gonna get to Jessi in a bit, but Jessi invited Chase, which is Miranda's ex, the new girl who just got into the group, but also the guy that Taylor basically blew up Taylor's life with that whole swinging scandal thing. He was the husband that came to her and said that he had feelings for Taylor while, they was all friends, and it blew up the whole swinging thing, right? So Jessi thought it was a great idea, which I feel like maybe producers egged her on for this, but regardless, she still did it. She invited Chase to that party, knowing that he had all that like beef with people and unfinished business with people. So you can't tell me anything. She knew that was going to be messy, and she still did it. And then Taylor fed into it because, like, okay, I get it. You don't like him. He's talking to your current boyfriend, and you think that your boyfriend is doing too much, right? Well, how about we have a talk with just Dakota? How about we just talk to Dakota, tell Dakota how he shouldn't be doing this off camera or when we get home, instead of feeding into the drama, right? I personally would not have handled it like that and like just went off. Like, it shows Chase that you're having problems with your current boyfriend in front of Chase, which is something that Chase seemed to like. He liked the mess, and we don't want to feel into that. So we should have just handled that another time, another day. That was something that just annoyed me about Taylor this season. So now skip ahead to the whole Demi versus Taylor thing, right? So in this situation, at first I was looking at Taylor sus, because why did you go to social media and be like, so my friends aren't being supportive, y'all? Like, they're, I don't know. To me, I found it kind of unbelievable that she thought that her friends or her fans weren't gonna like send hate to all of the girls, or at least have a heavy opinion on it, especially like after season 1 coming off. People on social media were very invested in their life. So I find it hard to believe that Taylor didn't think her fans were gonna come after the girls. So basically, if you guys don't remember, so Taylor Frankie Poe got invited to present an award at the CMAs, and basically she made a post about that on her Instagram, and none of the girls like commented on that post. So I thought she had a point, right? If I was on a show, with other influencers that I've been doing content with for years, and that's our whole livelihood, and they didn't comment on that, I would look at it like, okay, that's a little suspicious, but I wouldn't ever take that to the internet. I would go straight to them and be like, guys, why did you do that? That's a little weird. If you guys can make a comment or something, if you guys really like care and you're not trying to be shady, do that please, instead of just immediately posting it. But I thought she was kind of weird for that. And then I also thought she was kind of weird for when not Whitney, what's her name, when Mikayla and Mayci were having that conversation with her in the car about it, and Taylor was just like, I'm not gonna apologize, like I have no regrets. It was like, okay, now you're being insensitive to their feelings, and now you're doing that on purpose, like you're taking it a step above. But then again, Demi's reaction to that was insane. The way that she was going off and reacting online and like in the group chat, and when Layla was showing her like the messages that they had said in another group chat, I was like, okay, y'all, that is absolutely ridiculous what y'all were saying behind this girl's back. And then Demi just trying to grab her pitchfork and burn Taylor down to the stake. I agree with everyone else. It was obvious that Demi was trying to take over the spotlight and become the leader. All season that was obvious. But especially that whole Taylor situation. So Taylor was in the wrong, but then Demi went so above and beyond. If she would have just sat back, maybe gave her opinion, but then sat back and watch it happen, maybe she would have got the result that she wanted. But she decided to do the most, and that's what Demi's downfall was. So with that being said, with Taylor's whole arc, and there was more that I haven't talked about and touched on, because if I did, this video would just be all day long. But with that being said, I'm gonna put Taylor in the therapy column, and here's why. Yes, I love Taylor as a character. She's the reason why we have this show. She's the reason why Mom Topic exists, and I'm always going to give her that credit. However, there are so many times where I think she is blatantly in the wrong, and no one really says anything about it because she is the leader, and it feels like she can just get away with anything. And I think Demi did have a point with, sorry, I have a random knife, okay? Mom things. Anyways, I think that Demi like did have a point with some of the things that she was saying, and so did Whitney in season 1 when she was saying Taylor gets away with these things, but then I do something that's less severe and I get outed and whatever. Like, totally agree. But Taylor's going through a lot. She clearly needs therapy, genuinely needs therapy. And I think she said in some interviews after season 2 that she is actively in therapy, which good job, because girl, you need it. And that is not offensive, that is just the truth, because we see on screen how messy her life is, and it clearly stems from what she said. Her dad literally, like, she only met her dad one time in a restaurant, and he said, oh, like, how are you, kiddo, or something like that, and then she never heard from him again. And I'm sure that's a lot to do with things. But also her mom is weird. Her stepdad is even weirder. Okay, like, I'm sorry, but there's clearly some issues there, and she needs to handle that, because I think it's spilling out into every area of her life. Like Demi said, I honestly think that Taylor is wherever Taylor is, chaos follows. And that's because Taylor herself is like self-sabotaging, and there is some truth to that. But however, then moving on to the next person, which is Demi is actually a mean girl. She's actually a mean-spirited person. I've actually seen this from season 1, but I did give her a lot of props in season 1 for being the most outspoken against the church in terms of like woman empowerment. Not that she's like against the church, but she's trying to stab the patriarchy or whatever. Oh, let me do that again. Stab the patriarchy. Like, she's actually the most outspoken in terms of that, specifically in season 1. And so I gave her credit for that. But I did see some mean girl energy back in season 1 as well. I can't remember what this specific situation was, but I do remember there was a point where she was like, I was like, ooh, like, okay. But this season it's sprinkled all throughout the season. Remember when Mayci was having her dinner where she was announcing that she had a book deal, and Demi was front square and center, and she still couldn't hide her face that she was jealous. She was clearly jealous. She was sitting there like, guys, if I can find that clip, the look on that girl's face.
That is seriously so amazing. Like, that is so cool. Like, thank you so much. I'm really excited. As you can tell, it's emotional because it's just like all my trauma.
Your story is insane, and I'm excited for you to have your shot to like tell you.
That is so cool. Thank you guys. So thanks for coming and celebrating and watching me cry. And then
Demi seems a little maybe jealous, but she's trying to hide it.
Demi likes to put this up front that she's like this confident, put together woman, but to be honest, I feel like she has more insecurities than anyone, and she's really good at hiding it.
Can't wait to see you be a best-selling author, babe. That's the goal, you guys. I'm putting it on my vision board, so it's gonna happen. You guys ask if you want to come. Absolutely. Girls trip. That would be fun. Yeah.
I would never want to see this look on my face if I'm telling my friends about a good opportunity that I have. Like, that is concerning if your friends can't be happy for you, but especially not even fake happy for you. Like, it just seemed like she was jealous, and it seems like Demi, as they talked about all season long, only cares about money and how far she is in the group over everyone else, and who is she getting the best brand deals, and that's kind of concerning. And not only that, but she's a mean girl. Her and Jessi were very much mean girls at the beginning of the season. Jessi slowly started seeing Demi's true colors and was like, let me separate myself from that. I don't think that's my best self when I'm with her. And she started to notice things that Demi was doing, and she did not approve. And so I applaud Jessi for doing that, and not just being a follower and following Demi the whole time and realizing, okay, this is wrong. Let me detach myself from her. Making up with Jen, like all of that is great. But Demi girl, you look, I don't know if I even want to get into the whole like Brett maybe cheating on her and the whole thing at the end of the season that Jessi I forgot what was his name, Mauricio or something. I don't know. I didn't watch Vanderpump Rules, or Vanderpump Villa. I have no clue who that guy is, but he came in and basically was like, oh, by the way, it wasn't Demi, it was Jessi. I was making out with Jessi. I was like, what? This doesn't even make any sense. But okay, like, I feel like that's just a grab for season 3 so we can continue watching. Like, we're not already gonna watch the show. But anyways, that whole thing, like, that's a mess. Okay, that's messy. So I'm not even gonna touch that. And that has to do with people's relationships and affairs. So we're just not even gonna talk about that. Anyways, with all this being said, Demi is a hot mess and she's a mean girl. She's a mean girl. And I did feel bad for her in that scene where they were like playing pregnancy roulette because Layla thought that would be a great idea. I think producers had a hand in that. And I honestly think producers have a hand in everything that Layla does. But anyways, I felt bad for her there because that's nothing that I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Like, that is depressing. Okay. Anyways, I'm putting Demi in. I don't think Montauk will survive this because I don't think she will survive Montauk. I don't think she will. I think they will actually push her out. I honestly don't even see a pipeline for her getting back into the group on good terms. Like when Whitney from like last season, when Whitney, was left the group chat and was the villain and everyone outcasted her, I was like, I can see her coming back in. Like I genuinely can. Demi, the way she was moving and screaming at Taylor's mom at that Christmas party, I think she was doing too much. Anyways, next we have Jessi. It's only right to talk about Jessi after we talk about Demi, because that's what Jessi is. Jessi is a follower, okay? And unfortunately, I think it's because she has a little bit of the like lacking self-confidence issue, maybe, so she feels the need to attach onto other people. Because even as last season, like, even though they didn't really like show Jessi that much, they didn't show Jessi, Layla, Mikayla, or sometimes even Mayci that much last season. It seems like they very much like detach onto a person, like her and Layla both, and that's why they were both heavily detached to Demi. But as I said, I think she has very much learned her lesson this season, and she's realized, like, and Layla both realized, like, okay, Demi, you're doing the most. I'm going to step back. I'm going to be my own person. Handle yourself, your business over there, because I'm not going to be associated with it. But at the beginning of the season, her and Demi were driving me crazy. And especially, let's go back to that Halloween party, because I didn't forget. That Halloween party was a hot mess, and it was solely Jessi's problem. She was the reason, okay? Because not only the whole Jen thing, where they got the person from what is it called, Chippendales. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about Chippendales. But anyways, they got the Chippendales performer to come, and they did a little performance. The husbands did a little performance with that, and then in surprise, they wanted to get Jen and Zach, like, catch them lacking, right? So when we keep seeing that footage replay back about like them telling Jen, we only see a snippet of it. So I don't know if that's on purpose, if they're purposely cutting out a part where Jen specifically hears all the instructions. But the only thing that they said, if I recall correctly, Brett and Jordan were gonna like basically do a little performance, right? Or maybe it was, I don't remember if they even said names. They just said there was going to be a performance, but nobody said that there was going to be a Chippendales dancer coming in, and nobody said that she was going to be the sole focus of that. So guys, I don't know. They keep showing that clip and saying that she agreed, and I don't think she did. And they said on camera that they wanted it to be a surprise. That was the whole thing. So you guys left that information out, or else it would not have been a surprise. And so yes, Jen was shocked, and so was her husband. And I think y'all did that on purpose to antagonize their relationship. And there's just no way that you can spin that. To me, I don't see how that's no harm in that. To me personally, that seems targeted and on purpose to stir up some drama. Same thing with inviting Chase and inviting Chase's girlfriend to the party. That just seems really unnecessary, and like you were trying to stir up drama, Jessi. And I'm sorry, but you are officially the dramatic drama pot stirrer of this season, because you were somehow at the like basis of almost everything. Even the whole Mauricio, guys, I don't even know if that's his name once again. That whole thing, Jessi, come on. I hope that's not true. For your sake, I hope that rumor is not true, and you weren't letting Demi, your friend, take the fall for your actions in Italy. I hope that's not the case. But like I said, I don't think it is, but we'll see in season 3. So Jessi, you're going into therapy. Okay, so Layla, I have no problems with Layla this season. I honestly think Layla did really good. Like her whole arc in season 1 and season 2, she's doing great. She just seems like the single friend that is just there for a good time, and when drama like pursues, she's kind of just like, "Oop, I don't know what to do." So the only bad thing that I have to say about Layla, is that during that whole Saints and Sinners party, And Taylor was expecting for Layla to have her back, and she even agreed to have her back in that conversation. Layla did not say a word. Layla did not say a damn thing. And I was like, oh, I was kind of shocked because I'm like, you can't promise to have someone's back in a convo and then not even say a word. Like, that was kind of wild. But I do get it's because she's probably terrified of Demi, and she is the youngest person of the group. She's, I believe, had the least amount of followers coming into Mom Talk, and I think that's the same, but I'm not really sure. She's the only person of color. She seems to be a little bit replaceable. So I would be scared too to push back on someone who's claiming to be the new leader or be with the old leader. You know what I mean? So, and she did her job in every sense of the word by letting Taylor read those messages, and she did not have to do that. So I give her props for that. And I'm just gonna put her in "You're doing great, sweetie," because I didn't think she was crazy good, but I do think that she is a good character to have to the cast. She didn't add any extra drama, so if you're looking at it in a reality TV sense, okay, maybe I would say that she's probably bad for reality TV because she's not that dramatic or anything. But I do want to make one comment, one last comment on the Layla thing. When they went to that burlesque show and she put that joint in her mouth that came out of that girl's hoo-ha, I was like, no. Like, first of all, why would you let them put this on TV? Second of all, there's no way you actually did that. Like, there's just no way. There's no way. I could never get that out of my mind because you don't know where that girl's hoo-ha has been. Mikayla. So Mikayla had a lot of screen time this season. A lot of screen time. And good for her because I knew that she was really, like, mad, well, not mad, but just bothered last season by not getting showed. I would be too. You're putting in all those hours, all that work, because that is work, for months just to like barely have any of your stories shown. So they showed a lot of her story this season, and I'm so happy for her for that. And you know what, I started off this season kind of like hating Mikayla, not hating, but just a little bit on Mikayla this season because she seemed to be also a mean girl, just in the way that she was attacking Whitney at every chance that she got. Everything that came out of that girl's mouth seemed to be about Whitney, and I'm like, okay, girl, just get over it. Like, you don't realize that after a certain point it starts to be like you're the problem if you can't move on. But because I personally didn't think it was that deep. Maybe it was because they were best friends and Whitney kind of just like betrayed her in that sense. But yeah, no, I'm sorry, Mikayla. Like, at first I was not liking you, but as the season progressed, I actually was like, you know what, I can stand Mikayla, and Mikayla is doing really good. Like, we're seeing more of her story. I really felt for her with the whole her sharing her sexual abuse, and not to a T, but just sharing that that's something that's happened with her, and she's not really grappled over it, and how that could have spilled out in other areas of her life. Being very candid in that sense. We figured out that she's pregnant this season with her best friend Mayci. That's very exciting, and I love that for them. They can be pregnant together. I feel like that's like every girl's dream, and like they said, they like manifested that, and I'm so happy for them for that. And right now I can't really think of anything else that like Mikayla did that was like crazy in your face. But I do think that I really appreciate her storyline this season, and I low-key think in a way that she kind of carried this season with the storyline. And maybe that's because last season they didn't give her any, so they felt like an obligation to do that. But for her being very open and honest, just like Taylor with her life and her situation, I'm gonna honestly put her in A tier baddie. My baby's getting really restless. As you guys can see, we're like sweating out here because it's hot. So I'm sorry for this appearance. But anyway, so right now I'm standing up, and we're just gonna do the rest of this video because that's what we do. We just keep the ball rolling. Isn't that right, baby? Next we have Mayci, because just like Demi and Jessi, I have to have Mikayla and Mayci back to back. So with Mayci, I thought that they also did a really great job of portraying her story a lot more this season, and we got to hear a lot about her like past story, and I thought that was really unique to everyone else because we haven't really heard too much of background about past lore. And I think that's why Mayci is such a well-rounded person. And everyone in the group seems to get along with her always and like her because she's been through a lot, and I think she realizes how important it is to have relationships that are good with people. If you guys, recall, in the season she shared that her boyfriend at the time did pass away when she was having her first child, when she was pregnant with her first child, and I think her only child. Well, except for she's pregnant now again, but it was really like traumatic for her, and she still talks to their family, and she just seems to still have like love, deep love for him, and that's something that's really traumatic. Like, imagine like that ever happening to anyone. It's sad, and I think it explains a lot about Macy's character. And honestly, dare I say that Mayci also carried the season because she's also pregnant with her friend, like I said. And I don't know, she just seemed to be in a lot of storylines, like when she was helping Taylor figure out the whole thing with Jenna and Dakota, that whole situation. She was the one who orchestrated that, and she seems to be heavily involved in like everybody's like, everyone seems comfortable with Mayci. So stated earlier, she's just really good with people in general. Like, everyone seems to like her. So with that being, and the audience, like the people, the cast, but also the audience seems to really like her. Put her in S tier queen. S tier queen. All right, y'all. So we have one more person, and that's Jen Affleck, who is not at all related to Ben Affleck. We have cleared that up. We have cleared it up. She is not at all related, and Zach does not want to hear that name ever again. So Jen has been through a lot, and she was the big person that everyone was, okay, let me get my baby, but I'm going to keep talking. She was the big person that everyone was trying to follow for this season. She was the one who, like, in the first season, went through the trenches in terms of her relationship, and we wanted to see how that was going to play out this season. And so we started off the season seeing that her and her husband Zach had separated and were living in separate houses. And he was living in their home in Arizona, and she was back in Utah on her own, probably with her kids, and they slowly worked out their relationship through the season. Now, what I will say is Jen went through a lot this season. As you guys saw, she was not on camera for a big chunk of that because of her mental health, and she was pregnant by this man, and she clearly did not want to be, and was like, did not know what she was going to do with her life. And I don't blame her. That's a lot to go through on top of filming and these B words, I'm sorry to say that, really harping on her this season. Demi and Jessi, they were relentless, honestly. And it was kind of like mean girl activity. Like I said, they were being mean catty girls. I do see some of their concerns about, like, oh, Jen's not relaying the message with us like properly, and she's been lying to us, telling us this and that, and then telling her husband one thing and we're in between. When that happened, I was like, oh, plot twist. Like, I was not expecting that to happen. And Zach seconding that, I was like, oh, that's wild. But at the end of the day, if my friends went to my husband and somehow my husband convinced them that, like, that I was the one in the wrong, I would be looking at my friends like, okay, you're not really my friends if my husband's able to manipulate you and I've been telling you all this stuff. Like, because, and for a second there, I was got to, because whenever they were saying that Jen lied about she lied about him, like, spending all his money on medical school or gambling away all his money from medical school, I was like, ooh, that's a crazy lie to say to your friends and to the world. And like that, she does need to take accountability for that, because that's messed up. But the way that Demi and Jessi were going at her was kind of crazy. And to me, it just seems like Demi and Jessi take any sort of weak moment to pounce on somebody, like in a way that is very catty and mean girl like energy. It's mean spirited. It doesn't seem like they're actually trying to hold people accountable. It seems like they're trying to bully, and that's what I didn't appreciate about that whole situation. And As you guys can see, it really affected her mental health because she felt like she had no friends. She had possibly an abusive husband, and now she's pregnant. And I felt really bad for Jen this season. And I'm hoping that in the next season we see how her life turns up again, hopefully. I do know that I think based off of interviews that her and Zach are back together. I don't know if that means they're still separated or if they're just doing better in terms of their relationship, but we have an update in that sort of sense. But honestly, because I feel so bad, I'm gonna put Jen in A tier baddie territory. All right, y'all. So I'm not even in the frame. I'm so sorry. But I'm going to wrap up today's video because this has been a whirlwind. I don't know what footage I'm going to be able to keep because my baby does not want to sit still. And so I had to rush through a lot of it. So, I mean, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I had to rush through that last bit. But my baby, y'all see her? Don't forget, as I mentioned earlier, to watch that video from season 1 and to check out my reality TV playlist that I have on my channel if you guys like watching reality TV content, and make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. On average, I'm posting about mom life a lot. I'm not really posting too much about the reality TV stuff, but if you guys want to ever catch one of those videos, make sure to subscribe over to my channel. All right, y'all, bye. Thank you for watching.
Now when they see us in the streets, all they wanna do is take pics, and I'm like, okay.